What's up everybody, I'm Abatage and I'm here to have one shot at Gimbal. Gimbal, that's what I'm calling it. Yeah, this is a top-down space fighting action type game where you get to build your own spacecraft, which is pretty cool. It's by Many Eights Labs. Credits, there we go, that's who it's by. Can't read that company title, but it came out this year. It came out not so long ago, actually, just a few weeks ago, if that, maybe about a week, depending on when you're watching this and when it goes up. But it's essentially a indie, space fighting battle game. It's all online or offline with bots or LAN, but it's all multiplayer is the point, and it's pretty good. I had a bit of a rough start with this game. I've already recorded this video before, but after spending more time with it, I wanted to redo this video because my opinion changed. I initially wasn't very happy with it. I was a little bit frustrated. There are a few things going on which are still issues, but I've learned a bit more about how it works, and essentially I've got a different opinion from when I first recorded it. And my opinion's improved as well. That's the main thing. So that's why I didn't want to just slam it on the last video that I did. I wanted to have a more updated and more insightful look at Gimbal. But first of all, let's have a look at the settings. The settings are a bit weird and wonderful, but they're okay. You can rebind keys and that sort of thing. Advanced settings gives you all your graphics kind of stuff. I haven't been able to get a gamepad to work properly with this, but it might just be my gamepad, I'm not sure. It's cool that you've got this stuff, the MTU and UPnP and all that kind of thing, because this is an online game. And it's pretty cool. You can skip the intro, there's even a colorblind mode, which is quite useful. Then, yeah. Not a bad set of options. It's not exhaustive by any means, but it's pretty good. Resolution change and all that kind of thing. You will want to rebind your controls and do all that kind of thing, because they're set up initially to use... It's a really weird setup initially. They use by default it's the arrow keys to move your ship, and you've still got to use your mouse buttons to fire, and like here you got middle click to toggle the scope and that sort of thing. But then there's other keys all over the keyboard, so it's a really weird setup. So I've rebound stuff to like WASD and the numeric keys 1, 2, 3, all that kind of thing. So yeah, you'll want to rebind that because it's a bit poxy. Now before we actually get into a game, we're going to look at one of the main elements of this game, which is the hangar, where you can customize your ships. And you can either get this by clicking on hangar, or you can just click on your ship. But here is my hangar. Now I have leveled up 1 rank, so I've unlocked a couple of things. By default you get these first 3 ships, and they're all a little bit different. This one's kind of fast and pathetic. This one's armed and a bit heavier kind of dude. This one's a bit more maneuverable and has like mouse aim on the weapons and stuff, whereas these two will just shoot straight ahead. I've unlocked these, I haven't even looked at them to be honest. But let's say no. The problem with that is though that these ones use the default keys, so like arrow keys. However, you can see here I've made copies of them because I've rebound the keys. Like if I go to edit design, when it loads itself, yeah, so you can see on, say, these thrusters, which are controlled here, I have them AD for turning left and right, whereas by default they're up and down and left and right on the arrow keys. So while we're in here, let's have a quick look at what you've got to build with. So you've got this grid kind of setup, and you've got a budget to build with. So this is $743 trillion. And you build your ship up like that. So all these different components cost a certain amount. So if we come over here, we've got the airframes, which is the body. So if I wanted that one, I could drag that in, but I've already got one, so that doesn't matter. So you can see they're all different prices, like this one's 370, that one's 550, 460, so on and so forth. And you can also see that these ones with the stars on them are ones that I haven't unlocked yet because I need to rank up to get there. Initially I only had these three, but because I'm one rank higher, I get these two as well. So there's airframes, there's structures. This is for extending your ship so you can put extra platforms on, and those platforms you can then subsequently put weapons and whatever else on there. So you can basically build this out to be a behemoth if you had enough money. You've got propulsion, so there's light thrusters and maneuvering thrusters and medium thrusters. I've just unlocked the medium thrusters. Weapons, there's a whole bunch of different weapons, there's a whole bunch still locked. But they're interesting, they range from machine guns to flat cannons. In here somewhere, there's a flat gun. Bolt guns and light guns, which shoot like kind of like a rail gun. You got 50mm cannons, you got light guns, all these things. They're all different variations. You can shoot off flares to stop missiles. You can shoot homing missiles as well. All that kind of thing. So there's a good range of different weapons and that sort of thing. Sensors, you can, yeah, that will basically, you can ping the map to find out where enemies are. Software is interesting because this one you have to buy these chips to work with your ship. So this one currently has a stabilizer chip installed, and this gets really confusing for me because I'm still not 100% down with installing them manually myself. But you can see, so this module automatically stabilizes and steers your ship using your existing thrusters. So you put your thrusters on, you put the stabilizer on, and then you attach the stabilizer to those thrusters, and it will control them from this one thing, rather than going to each one and putting in the controls and doing that sort of stuff. This one's controlled by the stabilizer. So that chip will also, it helps you not oversteer and spin out of control and that kind of sort of thing, because it will always try and get you going straight as well. So that's that, but there's also other stuff, like there's other stabilizers. There's the mouse targeter is something that I use a lot. You basically have to put down a turret and then a mouse targeter and then a weapon on top of each other, so they're quite expensive to use. But at the moment these weapons on this ship will only fire straight ahead. They can't move at all, so you've got to move the actual ship to fire the weapons in a different direction. Whereas if you put down a mouse targeter on a turret, you then have a swivel for your weapons that will follow your mouse. It's much easier to aim and that sort of thing, and we'll get to that because that's something I have a problem with, is just how difficult the controls are and that sort of thing. But anyway, so there's your turret mount, so you could plop that down, say anywhere, and then plop a weapon on top of it and off you go. Tether gun, so you can fire a spear, extend it, and there's a lot of good stuff. Aero fins, rudders, they help you fly straighter. You can armor up, you can put blocks of armor all around your ship. Different magazines, so you get extra ammo, because you do have limited ammo for each of your weapons. And that's it. So what we're going to do, no, I don't want to save my changes. Let's have a look at one that I have built. This is the current one that I've built. It's pretty cool. And you can see I've got a couple of double guns on the front, which are on turrets. I've got a missile launcher, which isn't on a turret. I've got 3 main thrusters and 2 maneuvering thrusters. And this design is not ideal or full. There's a little bit of armor there as well. But what we can do is go into test flight and we'll see how it goes. So you can see, I can zoom right in, and it looks a bit muddy when you zoom right in. It's a bit pixelated and shit, so I don't recommend it. But this isn't a viable way to play the game anyway. But you can see those turrets there are shifting to my mouse, because they have a targeting system on them and they're sitting on top of rotating turrets, whereas that missile launcher isn't doing anything. So let's zoom right out and have a quick look. Now this is a test flight area, so that's why it's full of crates and stuff instead. Normally you'd have other enemies and that sort of thing, and they'd be flying around and you'd be shooting at them, which is cool. But for now, let's just have a look at the test, and if we get moving, let's try and get in so it doesn't look too poxy. So there are my engines firing off there, and if we zoom out you can see how fast they're going. Oh, and we don't want to go near that because it's shooting at us. So in this test flight mode they do put in crates that shoot at you and that sort of thing, just to make it a bit more interesting. Let's try and stabilize ourselves. So you can see there my thrusters are the ones that they're spinning me around, so while I'm going like this I can turn. And I can also push them backwards to slow down and do all that kind of general stuff, which is cool. And then I have my guns here, and down the bottom right you can see I've got 6 light missiles and I've got 520 rounds of these guns. So you can play pretty much however you want. You can zoom right out like this. You can also middle click and go for a scoped view of the entire map if you want to have a quick overview. There is a limit to the maps. They're quite large, but there's this area with the grid is you'll get killed if you go in there. It's like it's basically outside of the zone. And yeah, that's a little bit of an overview. Let's have a look at how it shoots. Because you can see if I hover over there, that target is for my missiles. So if I fire off a missile, that's what they look like. And then my guns, which will follow me around. So these are just crates, but let me tell you, firing at actual moving targets is a little bit more difficult. And then I'm out of ammo. So that's cool, that's the test flight. And I've been using this guy a bit, and I've been able to actually get a couple of kills and that sort of thing, so that's why I'm kind of sticking with him at the moment. There are other ones I could use, like this dude, who looks pretty cool, but I'm not the right rank yet. This is another one of basically the same body but different design. Again, they're all just different designs, and you can do all this from scratch if you wish. And this one, actually, I've seen this one a lot. Yeah. But anyway, we're going to stick with this guy because I've made him, and that's cool. And now, we could go into online combat, but I'm not going to do that just yet. I'm going to go into host game, because you can host all your games here and everything. And you can set up LANs, you can set up online, you can do whatever you want. It's all good. So, there's a few maps. If we go to map rotation, you'll see just how many. There's basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 6 or 7 maps with mini versions of them. And there are also races that you can get into and that sort of thing, but we probably won't look at that right now. And yeah, so let's go for a mini, because I find the big ones are pretty big. Let's make the game length, let's make it 10 minutes. And let's have the round length at 3 minutes. We'll make it nice and short. And we probably won't even last the whole game, but that's cool. And there's different game modes, so you deathmatch, eliminate deathmatch, race, capture the flag, but battle group is the main one that I've seen, the main one that I've played. And each side has an aircraft carrier, or a carrier ship, I guess, and they look kind of with that shape. So you can customize different weapons for your aircraft carrier as well. And I think if you just leave this as defaults, then you leave them as defaults. It's not too, you know, necessary to customize this too much. But having said that, I'm not sure. I mean, let's just plonk all that through and armor. Okay, so, because you can actually destroy an enemy team's carrier. Basically, they're pretty indestructible. They're these big floating carriers, and you can land on them to essentially resupply, refuel, repair, that sort of thing. So let's jump into this here. So there's a carrier right there. This looks like ours. Look, there's the weapons that it has, and it will basically murder anyone who comes near it. So when you start the game, you have these little drop ships, and these are all my team. And they drop you off, and then you get going. And if we just... there's our carrier. If we just zoom out a bit, you'll see... possibly... okay, no, we haven't seen them yet. This guy's getting a bit close. He might be able to see someone. Okay, never mind. This way. Blue. There was blues up that way. It's kind of hard to find people initially, especially... this is why I like the smaller maps. Like this one. Yes, this is a small map. Ah, there's some blues. Alright, let's head that way. So while we're heading that way, let's talk about the game mechanics and how it plays. So essentially you fly around, you've got your ship and it controls just how you make it control and all that lovely stuff. And you've got to try and take out the enemy team. And this game type you win by getting more frags than the enemy. You've got to lead targets and do all that jazz, but wow, 3 of those guys just ganged up on me. These are, by the way, these are all bots. Essentially because, yeah, when you jump online, it either bugs out for me and doesn't work, or they're all bots anyway. So you can see on this one, I've limited the, even though these guys are higher ranks as far as the bots go, but they're only allowed to use ships that cost 2 stars worth, like there's a limit to basically how much budget that you have for your ships. And that's why I've done it that way, because initially when I first started playing I got really frustrated because of the ludicrous way that a lot of the bots would be completely overpowered for you. There we go, I actually got someone. So you can see that's increased my budget by 18 trillion. So next time I go around to build a ship, I can use a higher budget. Oh. Come back around. Ah.
Failed.
Now what happened there, I ran out of... oh, so the other team has 1 on them. Frags on that one. So what happened there was I ran out of missile ammo. I could have come back and landed on my ship and got refueled and got new ammunition. Whatever else, restocked, I guess. Resupplied. But I didn't, because I was not paying attention. And so yeah, this is part of the problem with this game, I find, is if you go online, it's all populated by bots like these guys. Everything with the green is a bot. I've only ever seen like 1 or 2 people playing online, and well, yeah, see, they've got much better ships than I do. Okay, let's try and divide our attention a little bit and actually talk about this. So, essentially, the problem I have is being able to level up, or basically the lack of being able to level up. And I just clicked outside the screen, so hopefully that didn't kill it. Oh. Okay, welcome back. So, right then there was a cut because as I was flying around in that mission, I clicked too high. And that clicked me outside of the game. So it crashed to the desktop, it came up with an error message, I had to close it through Task Manager. Pain in the ass. Just crashed the whole game. So unfortunately we're not going to see the end of that, but that's okay. We'll jump into an online game before we're finished and just see what the difference is, if there's any difference. But I wanted to first talk about that. The crashes and the kind of, not so much janky, but unpolished elements of this game are very annoying. So first of all, when you get on, it's really hard to rank up. Like, I have spent maybe 3 or 4 hours playing this game now, and I've ranked up 1 level. And I've probably only got about 6 kills all up. And that's the problem, is it's really hard to frag a bot that is so high advanced ahead of you. There's no real there's a very slim, this budget cap way of limiting how good your opponents are, or limiting your map to ships that only use that amount of budget. But that budget is phenomenally huge. Like, if I take it down to the 1, that's too small for my ship, because my ship is more than that 1 star. Don't ask me how, it just is. It's probably somewhere in between the 2. If I go like that and make it 2 stars, that 2nd star is way above my ship level. And you saw a lot of those other ships in there. They were heaps faster, they were heaps more accurate. I was shooting them, but they weren't going down. Some of them took maybe 4 or 5 rockets to actually take down from me, as well as some machine gun fire, whereas one of their rockets will just obliterate me completely. So you can kind of start to see where one of the problems is there's no real ranking system, or matchmaking is a joke. It doesn't exist, basically. All you can do is edit this budget cap, which, again, it doesn't mean squat, because if you've got a smaller budget but you chuck a couple of beastly weapons on there with not a lot else, you're gonna murder me really quickly. So, that's a problem, and a big one. The other problem, and the reason why I went to host game before going into online combat, is every time I go into online combat, the game gives me an error and I can't actually exit online combat. I've got to, tab out and kill it through Task Manager, which is freaking annoying and very, very retarded, and it makes me just not play online. I just host my own games and forget about it, which is kind of shit, because this is meant to be a multiplayer game, and a multiplayer game that means you can only use bots, or that's the only plausible way to do it, or that's the only way to do it without having to force shut down the game just to exit and get out of the current online map. That's terrible. That's just shit, essentially. And it needs to be fixed, because if they want to get any kind of multiplayer community going, it's not going to happen if there's those sorts of bugs going on. And they need to sort out the ranking system, because the ranking system is abysmal. Like, it's just terrible. So let's quickly jump into an online. There are servers up, which is cool. There are people playing it, and that's groovy. Now let's go into... let's do one I haven't... The ones with the hearts aren't my favourites, they're just ones that I have been in before. So you can see, again, this is the problem. You sort by humans. There's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10... oh, is that 9? Oh yeah, 8, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. There are 24 humans playing this game right now, online. That's it. All these 14s, 19s, 7, 6, they're all bots. And that's cool, because it's nice to have bots when there's no one else playing. But my god, it's a bit freaking annoying. So yeah, anyway, let's jump into this one. It's fairly populated. Oh, server's full. Of course it is. Okay, let's try this. Capture the flag. And we'll see if it does the error for me, but it might not now, of course. Yep, continue. Who's smaller? There's one player in each. That's interesting. And they're both bots. Fantastic. Oh, it's actually working. Of course it is. Trying to recreate a bug just never works, never happens. So this will be a pretty empty map anyway, because there's, what, 2 bots involved. And that's it. And they're both... yeah. So you can see this is a different map. These are obstacles that, if you run into these, you will die. But we obviously need to collect and capture flags, which is nice. It's nice that there's a that there's a capture the flag variant. And you can see my ship is just way too difficult to control right now. My god, I need some stabilizers or something. Because every time I turn around, I get owned. Alright, that's a bit more stable. Let's do that. Let's fire off some missiles. Yeah, see, couldn't even get near him before the other dude killed him. And that's a classic problem with bots. Someone else always kills them before you get there. But yeah, if I hit escape, I can actually do this, so that's cool. Usually, when I jump into an online match, this is the second time it's actually worked for me. But anyway, when I hit escape, it'll give you an error, and you have to force quit the game through Windows or whatever you're on, and you can't actually exit this server, which is really, really horrible. I know it's kind of hard to not be able to show you, but it's just freaking awful. But let's talk about some of the good stuff that I do like. I like the potential and the ideas behind it. I like that they have different game modes. I like that capture the flag is a thing in a space combat game. That's always cool. Let's see if we can actually go get the flag, if we can stabilize enough. I love the ship customization. That's really good. A little bit more tutorial or assistance or that sort of thing would be useful, I think. I'm going to crash into that rock. No, I'm not. Oh, but I'm going to crash into that one. But yeah, it'll be very useful to have some sort of tutorial on how to build ships and how different parts work and that sort of thing. Because essentially I have no idea how to build some of the parts. Oh. Jeez, I didn't even see him coming. Let's get out of this and just have our little last thoughts anyway. Seeing as we actually can get out of it. Oh, look at that. It's nice when things work. So yeah, anyway. I enjoy the fact that you can build your own ships and that it's limited by budgets, because that's a nice way of doing it. Because then you can trick it out with heaps of crazy stuff if you want, but you're only going to get a few of them on, whereas you can get lots and lots of little stuff on as well. So it depends how you want to roll with it. And that's cool. I like the graphics and the soundtrack. It looks good. It sounds good. The audio has got this very I don't know if you could tell in those videos, but it's got this very kind of in-space feel. Like, it's all very kind of muted and off in the distance sounding, and there's a lot of reverb and that sort of thing attached to it. Which is cool. I really like that. I love how the weapons sound. I love how all that kind of thing. But there's a few main issues, and the main issues I have is, first of all, no one's playing it, but that doesn't bother me so much because it's a new game and that's just the way it goes. Second of all the crashes. If you click outside the screen on the wrong spot, like we saw earlier, you crash it, and it's not, it's easy. Why can't you just bind my mouse into your window? See, at the moment I've got 3 screens, and this game is running on the middle screen. If I move my mouse to the left, it keeps going over to my left screen. If I move my mouse to the right, it keeps going over to the right screen. And you may say, well, that's cool because you've got multiple screens, but most games that are smart bind your mouse to the screen region that the game is running in. Otherwise, especially in something like this where your mouse aiming, it's not like a FPS or something, but where your mouse aiming, and if you pop outside the screen and click, you're clicking on your desktop, so you're going to crash the whole freaking game. That's a pain in the ass. Lack of tutorials, lack of players. The bots, there's no real way to rank them well so that you have a even challenge. I always feel like I'm the little guy in those hosted maps with bots, even no matter how small no matter how much I limit their budgets, I'm always the one who's shit, and they're the ones who are just owning me without a chance. I'd like some sort of difficulty level put onto the bots, or... well, yeah, put onto the bots. I don't care about other players, really, because it's like, yeah, if they're better, that's cool. But if I'm just practicing and the only way I can rank up and actually hit anything is by playing bots, I want to be able to control those bots and see, adjust them to my level so that they're a challenge and I can actually play them, and they're not just going to murder the crap out of me. Whereas as it is, the only reason I got up to this rank is because I managed to spend a couple of hours playing where I got maybe 6 kills. All up, mind you, that's like hours worth of play, and I managed to get 6 frags, and I'm using my best gear I can, and I've done the best I can to try and build the best ship I can. And yeah, that's a little frustrating. So I guess the question is it worth the $15 price tag on Steam? I would say it's really going to depend on how much you like the idea of this sort of game. I got really excited with it when I saw it came out. I thought, wow, that looks cool. It's the kind of top-down space shooter action thing I'm looking for. That would be awesome. I even thought possibly, fingers crossed, that the partial gamepad support would mean that I could play it like a twin stick. That would be awesome. But no, you can't. But that's okay. That stuff doesn't bother me as much as the bug issues, the crashing, the awful level up system, the horrible ranking system, all that kind of thing. That's what bothers me, and that's what you're going to have to think about if you want to drop $15 on this game, because I don't think it's worth it unless you're really excited about it. And I'm sorry to say that, but I think at the moment, unless they improve it and unless they implement some better matchmaking and that sort of thing, because it's a multiplayer game, without those things you basically don't have a game. You've got a bit of a simulator or a bit of a test kind of thing with some nice graphics and some nice physics and some great sound design, but that's about it. The actual gameplay is really suffering because of that lack of ranking and that lack of matchmaking and being able to adjust for someone who's on your play level. So, you know, check it out on Steam if you're interested. It looks cool, it feels cool, it plays cool, but it's got a few issues and it's got a way to go before I think it's really worth that full price tag. Maybe pick it up on special and have a bash, that'll be worth it. And I hate saying that about this sort of game, because it's the kind of game I want you to say, I want to be able to say, go out and buy, get in there, start playing it, play online, really fill those servers with lots of humans and lots of interesting ship designs and little custom builds and that sort of thing, because that would be really exciting. I want to get out there and jump onto servers and play with people and go, oh, look at what that guy did with his ship. And, you know, just be able to see stuff that people come up with, because there's so much creativity available in this hangar thing. Because like, you can rotate all the parts, you can make them face whatever way you want, you can add as many of something as you want as long as it's within your budget, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, it's lacking that because it's got this huge barrier, which is the poor systems that it has, like the poor matchmaking, the poor ranking, the poor way to customize the level of bots that go in there, because that, let me tell you, that budget system doesn't work. I'm sorry, it doesn't work. I tried limiting the budget and I still got murdered horribly by ships which are way overpowered compared to mine. And that's not fun. You know, I'm all up for a challenge. I love a challenge. I like having to work for my achievements and that sort of thing in games. I don't want it all to just be handed to me on a silver platter. But when it's that murderous and that unfair, I don't like it. And I don't recommend it either. So that's where we're going to have to leave it, because they're my thoughts on Gimbal. And yes, I know there's a lot that I don't like about it, but trust me, I actually like it a lot more since I've been playing it more. Since I actually managed to rank up and unlock a few things and that sort of stuff. Because the first time I made this video, I'd played it for a couple of hours already and hadn't even made it anywhere. I hadn't unlocked anything, I hadn't got any kind of reward. And that's fine, but you need some sort of reward. Even if it's just a little bit, it's not anything powerful. You need to make me feel like I'm actually getting somewhere after about 4 hours of play, which is where I'm at now. So come on guys, fix your online matchmaking, fix your ranking systems, let me adjust difficulty a lot easier rather than this bullshit budget option. And yeah. Thank you so much for watching my shot at Gimbal. I have high hopes for the future. I hope it gets improved. I hope that it turns out to be a really fun space combat game, because I think that potential is most definitely there and they've got the basis for that. They just need to fix some of the online stuff and the multiplayer related systems to really make it pow and really solidify it and make it just enjoyable and fun, and yeah. So check the description for links. There'll be links to the Steam page and any other pages that seem appropriate at the time. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Without anyone viewing these, they just kind of vanish into the ether. And yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Bye!